Hello everyone, welcome. Say hi, Lana. Hi. Lana's always still kind of shy in the beginning, but she warms up after a while. Before we get started, I just want to talk about things that have happened since my last video. Lana's already had some stalkers, and one guy was arrested, and I think a young woman was arrested for driving a car. Since then, there have been two Russian girls who were stalking her, so Lana got a restraining order against them. I just say that for those of you who've seen my videos, you know I'm a big Lana fan. If you're just watching for the first time, I just have to make it clear in light of what's been going on. I'm a big fan of Lana Del Rey. I've seen her 4 times in concert. I've made a bunch of videos over the past year, but I'm completely harmless. I have no illusions or delusions about any relationship with Lana. I'm not a threat to her or anything. I just say that so because some people write some weird stuff on my videos. Anyway, so Lana, you know I love you, right? Yes, Bob. See, she's not worried about anything. Now, the topic today is going to be the recent passing of David Bowie. And if you're a Bowie fan and you're watching, this is just the only way I'm going to express myself. Don't think because I'm here with Lana that I'm making light of it or a joke. Before I was a Lana fan, if you saw any of my videos, you know I was a hardcore David Bowie fan. And I mention it throughout all my videos. A video ago, or 2 videos ago, I did a little lip syncing of Space Oddity. And I have another video with Lana where I lip synced Heroes. And in fact, after Honeymoon was released, I did a video called Lana Del Rey Honeymoon and Beyond. You can check that one out. And I talked to Lana about that she has a similar sensibility, really, as she's a singer-songwriter like David was. And so I had advised her to listen to a bunch of his early albums to try and spur even more of her creative spirit. So this isn't a joke. It's just the way I'm expressing myself, okay? So don't think I'm making light of it. I may not be as goofy and stupid as a lot of my other videos because this is real serious, or was serious for me. Anyway, as most of you know, David Bowie passed away on January 10th, I think. January 8th was his birthday. He released an album. 2 days later, the Golden Globes were on. I guess it was announced late. I didn't know. And I found out, I woke up in the morning, and I have an Instagram account, and on a picture I posted, somebody had put, he died. And I'll show you the picture here. I'll explain about the picture. This is the picture. And that was made by my good friend Bill, who lives out in Seattle. Oh, Lana, your face here. He had originally made one for me. I asked him to make this one. And this is one of my all-time favorite pictures. Lana had a series of pictures taken in this green pickup, and they're so beautiful. And I had this idea of putting the Born to Die cover and behind it. But I'm no good, really, with Photoshop, or I do generic paint. So anyway, he made that one for me. And then he made the Bowie one for me just because he knows I'm a Bowie fan. And I had put that on Instagram on his birthday, just saying happy birthday. So anyway, this person said he died. And at first, this was Monday, and I was getting up for work. I thought he died. And I thought this person was referring to, because it's a picture, it's really not the Aladdin Sane cover, but it's from that photo series of, I guess, when the cover was being made. But it's the album after Ziggy Stardust. It's Ziggy era. So I thought she was talking about Ziggy, because if you know anything about the Ziggy Stardust, at the end he dies, or he crushes under the weight of his own ego, whatever. And I thought, and some people longed for the Ziggy days when they were over. So that's what I thought, because it didn't seem possible. Anyway, I got to work, and I looked online, and of course I saw what everybody else saw. And I would like to say I broke down and cried, or I was in shock. I don't know what I was. I was like out here. I mean, my emotions were out there, and I was completely disconnected. It didn't seem real, especially for the fact, like I say, it was just his birthday. He just released an album, and then they say, oh, David Bowie died from an 18-month battle with cancer. Nothing about it seemed real. And if you've seen the video Lazarus, um, then suddenly something's kind of started to click. Anyway, so for a few days, and I've also had been sick. I was sick for about a month, like a lot of people over the holidays. So I wasn't feeling that great. So I wasn't really dealing with it. It took a few days to sink in. And then the thing that got me, and which has overwhelmed me, is the response from around the world. I mean, obviously David Bowie's been making records for 40 years, and a lot of people know who he is and know some of his music. But I've been a fan for over 40 years. I mean, I graduated high school in 1974. And in my high school yearbook, there's my picture, and underneath is a couple lines from the song Hang On to Yourself on the Ziggy Stardust album. Yeah, I just wrote, come on, we really got a good thing going. Come on, if you think we're going to make it, you better hang on to yourself. And that was it. No glee club, chess club, track team. I wasn't, I don't know. So that's just to show you, that was my beginning. And I was an obsessed fan for my whole life. And when I say obsessed, one of these people that's over the top, kind of like some people are with Lana. I don't know who. The same way you'd think of a teenage girl over Justin Bieber. But with me, it was Bowie, but I wasn't in love with him. It was his music and the rock stardom, but it extended through my teenage years, my 20s, and on. It's just a part of my growing up, and my adulthood. The obsession, things were much different back then as far as information. Only when a band toured or released a record would you see things in the newspaper. And there were rock magazines, Cream, C-R-E-E-M, Crawdaddy, Circus, Rolling Stone, or the Village Voice, or when in California, the LA Times has a calendar section. So that's where you would look to find out what's happening. The web and all that didn't exist. So for years and years, that's the kind of things I would follow. I've seen him many, many times in concert. I have many Bowie adventures. I'm not going to, maybe some other time I'll go through, but I'm not going to go through all my stuff. And when I used to be, I don't drink anymore, but when I used to, I mean, if I was in a bar or anywhere, a party, and a Bowie song came on, I would become David Bowie. And you see how I've done, if you look at some of my, it's not I'm trying to do it, it's just a feeling comes out when I lip sync Bowie. But I'd ask a girl to dance, and if she would, that's fine. If not, I'd get on the dance floor and I'd do my Bowie thing and point at people and all that stuff. And I was obsessed into it. And some people looked at me like, that guy's weird. Some people got it, and some people thought like, stay away from that guy. So anyway, the response from the whole world I was so surprised, and I really owe an apology. So I beg for the humble forgiveness of everyone, with love, that because I was such a hardcore Bowie freak from the early days, the Ziggy era, and all the his different incarnations forward, I kind of had this illusion that only me and people like me, hardcore Bowie freaks, really get him. But these people just like, oh yeah, I like Rebel Rebel. Oh yeah, I like Young Americans. Oh, Space Oddity, that's a cool song. That they didn't get it. And you know what? I was wrong. Apparently he touched a lot of people's lives in many different ways that I have no idea about. And it's ultimately not my business. And I'm just overwhelmed. The response online, if you look at any YouTube videos, any articles, people, and anytime anyone dies, there's always people chiming in, oh, rest in peace. But this seemed different. A lot of people were genuinely touched. And the things they've done, I think in the Netherlands, a radio station got together with an observatory, and they registered like 7 or 8 stars in a constellation that would make like a Ziggy flash, or actually from the Aladdin Sane cover. There was a church in the Netherlands that made their church bells chime to the tune of Space Oddity, and there's been multiple little tributes so far. I imagine they're going to do more. Bruce Springsteen did Rebel Rebel as a tribute in concert. Madonna did a Rebel Rebel. Melissa Etheridge did a version of Heroes, and just lots of people. So anyway, I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but I really was overwhelmed that I wasn't alone. He, was unique in the sense of his music and his lyrics and the visuals, and he shifted styles, and sometimes he'd shift, and people, his other fans from previous incarnations wouldn't stick with him. When he went from the Ziggy era, Diamond Dogs, and then to Young Americans. Fame, I think, was his first and only #1 hit, if I'm not mistaken, in the States. But Fame, Young Americans, he was kind of disco, plastic soul thing. And the underground Ziggy fans, a lot of them were like, I don't get this. But Bowie, the Bowie-ness came through. And the same with many other incarnations. He's turned left and right and all around, and it's taken a while for people to catch up to him. So it's tough. It's still so surreal, the situation, that it was 18 months and nobody knew, and they released this record. I mean, it would be different if like he got hit by a bus and you saw that on the web. Oh my God, the David Bowie got hit by a bus and got killed. It would be a different kind of thing. But this whole thing, it's about Bowie to the end. And his last album, this album is great. It's haunting. That Lazarus, I watched it many times. I got the download of the album. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Lana, normally if you've seen my videos, Lana and I do a little purring, but I think I just need a hug, Lana. Is that okay? Yes, bud. Come here. Oh. Oh, that's nice. You're very sweet. See? Lana takes care of me. I just don't really feel like purring. I don't know what else to say. I was just thinking about it, like, what is it? And Glenn Frey just passed away. I was thinking about something else too. He's with the Eagles. Now the Eagles have sold probably 3 times what David Bowie sold. Bowie's a big star, but he hasn't sold records like Elton John or Rod Stewart or the Eagles or Fleetwood Mac. I mean, these people are mega sellers. And Glenn Frey, I know he's got fans, Eagles fans of his own solo career. And I'm not trying to be, oh, Bowie's better, dismissive. It's just that Bowie's affected me. It's interesting though, Lana. You know something? Because on Lana's last album, the song, is it Terrence Loves You? Towards the end, she sings a little bit of Space Oddity. She used ground control to Major Tom. And then in another song, is it God Knows I Tried? You have a line where you say, put on Hotel California, danced around like I was insane, something like that. I have to hear the song. But you mentioned Hotel California, and I know you like the Eagles. So it's interesting, you both of them in your last album, and now they passed away. Bob. I'm sorry, Lana. I shouldn't make that association. It's just kind of odd. So anyway, I was thinking about it. What is it about David Bowie that is, because, a lot of people in the early days, I mean, when I was in high school, 11th or 12th grade, I first saw him at Radio City Music Hall, February 15th, 1973. And I didn't even know anything about his music. I just went with my friend who's since passed away. And, that was the Ziggy Stardust, the orange hair and makeup. But to me, I was just blown away. It wasn't about a man dressing like a woman. It was nothing like that. Bowie had this charisma and this confidence on stage. Like, his attitude was like, I don't have to act cool because I know all of you out there think I'm cool, so I can just do whatever I want. I mean, he just had this. So for me, being, I guess, insecure, impressionable teen, his security, his confidence, and his outrageousness, just, was a way for me to channel. I don't know. And I took some, a few ribbings, because a lot of people didn't know anything about him. People who weren't into his music but only knew the pictures of him. Some guys would say, "Oh, you like Bowie? You must be gay." And I say, "No," and I just dealt with it, But I'm not gay. And that's another thing. I've read so many times over the years because of especially Bowie's early career. He once, in Melody Maker, which I think is a British music magazine, in 1972, he said he goes, he announced he was gay. Now he's married twice, and I don't think he was gay, maybe been bi, but he said that, and it may have been for shock value and to get attention, but in 1972 that was a big thing. But aside from him saying that, his whole look on stage, the androgyny, so it didn't look like, you're looking at a woman, a man trying to be a woman, or it was just, the sexuality was there, but everything was okay. And I've read over the years how many young gay people who were isolated and alone and in fear, and someone like David Bowie, they gave them hope. Hey, I can express myself and be okay. I mean, look, people like David Bowie, and so I don't have to. There's nothing I really have to be afraid of. But beyond that, it's not just the gay community. Apparently, so many people, we've all got a creative spark. some ways that we can't express ourselves, and Bowie maybe was the channel for that. So I was thinking, Lana likes these kind of conversations. People talk about, was there first the Big Bang, or did God create the universe? You like that kind of thing, right, Lana? Yes, Bob, I find it fascinating. She finds it fascinating. But maybe there was a Big Bang, but maybe the universe was created, but it was just a structure, an empty canvas. And God came along and said, oh, look at this. And God gave it light and color and life. And God said, wow, that's good. Maybe that's the way David Bowie saw life, as this big empty canvas. So he said, I'll throw some words out here and some music over here, and I'll take a bucket of paint and throw it this way, another bucket of paint and throw it this way, and spin the whole thing around, turn it upside down, and look what I've created, and it's good. And maybe he chiseled away a little cave in reality and invited us all in, and we looked around, we walked in, and we listened to the words, and we heard the music, and we looked around in wonder and said, wow, who knew? Who knew all this could exist? So, David, thank you. I think I speak on behalf of all your fans around the world, especially to Aman and your two children, Duncan and Alexandria. I think it's Alexandria. To us, it's, oh, David Bowie, but to them, it's a husband and a father. Our sincere condolences, and, I know it's got to be tough. But David, thank you so much for everything you've done. You've inspired so many people. You've been a part of my life. Love you, and we'll miss you. So I don't know what else to say. I could ramble on. I don't want to do a whole David Bowie history, I've got tons of stories about my interactions, concerts, and all that, but maybe another time. At the end of my videos, what do we always say, Lana? You can say it, Bob. I think you should. You need it. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. We always say to everyone out there, remember, God loves you, Lana loves you, and I love you. And remember, we all love David Bowie. Thank you. Oh, that's very sweet. Bye, everyone.